Hey developers, I'm Sushruth and I work on Bito. In this video, we are going to compare two of the most popular AI code review tools in the market, Bito and CodeRabbit. As you all know, I have this expense tracker project where I keep making code changes, raising PRs, and running different AI code review agents and their models on them. I've done the same thing here. I have two branches, branch A and branch B, and I have run CodeRabbit on branch A and Bito on branch B. Both PRs and both branches have the same code changes, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the different things or differences that I find between both the tools. So let's get started. The first thing that I want to start off with is the summary and change list that we get from both of these tools. Let's first look at CodeRabbit. CodeRabbit gives you summary in a form of release notes where it gives you pointers, for example, new features, and it gave me these pointers that these new features are added in the code change for this PR. Then we have a walkthrough of what this PR is about and the changes per file. So for example, for app.js, these are the changes and the summary of it. For index.html, this is the change summary, and it goes on for all the other files. Then we have a sequence diagram that gives you a pictorial representation of this summary and code change. Then estimated code review effort. This gives you a summary of how much time it will take and what all do you need to review in this particular PR. Then we have a poem. I'm not a big fan of it. Then we have some pre-merge checks and finishing touches. I don't think this is much relevant in the context of this particular code review. Then we look at summary by Bito. Bito gives you a straightforward summary in form of paragraphs of what the changes are about. For example, extensive improvements across this application, which includes new recurring expense functionalities, robust CSV parser, etc. Then we have a change list where it gives you a table of the key changes and the files impacted out of it. For example, if we are adding new features, so for app.js, this is the change. For currency service.js, this is the change. For memory leak.py, this is the change. Then feature improvement, bug fixes, other improvements, and testing. Then we have this interaction diagram, which is a pictorial representation of all the file changes and what all changes went live in this particular PR. Then we have critical path and the note that this diff adds comprehensive currency conversion, goal tracking. This, in my opinion, is similar to what CodeRabbit gives you here in the walkthrough. So if we compare the summary and walkthrough between CodeRabbit and Bito, I guess both are pretty similar. Although CodeRabbit is more vast and comprehensive, Bito feels like more focused and more straightforward. Now let's look at the actual code suggestions, which is the key area of AI code review tools. So CodeRabbit gave us 19 actionable suggestions. It also has outside diff range comments, which shows that CodeRabbit is also a bit codebase aware and can look throughout the code base to fix or find changes. Then we have 39 nitpick comments, and then if we look at review details, it gives you the configuration used, review profile plan, files ignored, files selected for processing, additional context, code graph analysis. Okay, so again, it is being more comprehensive. And let's look at Bito. Bito gives you 35 actionable suggestions, 30 additional suggestions. So let me give you a quick overview here. Bito has two modes, comprehensive and essential. And I guess CodeRabbit has the same too, but I'm not aware. We will look at it when we look at the CodeRabbit dashboard in the next sections. But first, essential mode in Bito gives you the essential changes or critical changes or suggestions that need to be clarified or reviewed before you merge the PR. And when you run Bito in comprehensive mode, along with actionable suggestions, it also gives you good to haves and potential nitpicks that you can use to even refine your code for production level. So this particular PR is run in comprehensive mode. Hence, you see 35 actionable suggestions and 30 additional suggestions, which is very comprehensive. Then we have filtered by review rules. Bito has this option of creating custom review rules that you can create in your workspace, and the AI code review agent or Bito's agent will learn to abide the code review process based on those particular rules. Then we have review details, which is similar to what CodeRabbit showed. So when it comes to finding the suggestions, both of the tools almost work the same way. The only difference or the addition that you see is this in Bito, which is filtered by review rules. You have this option to create custom guidelines based on your workspace or your organization settings, which is really good and one of the most demanded features of Bito. Now, the third section or the third point of comparison comes between the actual suggestion and how both of the tools portray those. So if you look at the first suggestion, so what CodeRabbit does is it gives you or highlights the code change from where the suggestion is found. Then it gives you this data that this is a potential issue and it is critical. Then it gives you some explanation of the change or of the suggestion, and then it gives you the code change. You also get the same thing in committable suggestion format, and you can just commit this suggestion particularly from here. So I guess this is a bit redundant. We could just get rid of this here and only have this committable suggestion. But let's look at Bito. The first thing that Bito catches is this expense validator.java, and we have this import, which is a wildcard import. It gives you the suggestion and gives you the reasoning behind the suggestion. Then we have the code suggestion. You can just commit it straight from here. Then the review rule which I created. Okay, this is the point of difference that I wanted to talk about. When we look at CodeRabbit, CodeRabbit does not have an option to or a clear direction to mark a suggestion as invalid. I tried marking it with a thumbs down emoji, but I do not see any learned rule created out of it. While for Bito, for each suggestion, you get this option. Should Bito avoid suggestions like this for future reviews? If you mark it as yes, avoid them, it creates a review rule. For example, in this case, Bito created the rule, use specific imports instead of wildcard imports. It also gives you the repo, the language, and it says that Bito will avoid suggestions that match this rule. You get this option in almost every particular suggestion here in Bito. Now, the next point of difference that I wanted to talk about is this particular vulnerability that Bito and CodeRabbit both found. So you can see that Bito found this XSS vulnerability. You get the same issue here in CodeRabbit as well. So both of these AI code review tools did a pretty good job in finding this security issue. But let's look at the point of difference. For CodeRabbit, you get the suggestion, you get an analysis chain, sanitization posture, keep using this and avoid this. Also applies to script executed. So this feels like a working of the analysis that CodeRabbit made in finding this particular suggestion. It gives you an overview of the suggestion, and then it gives you prompt for AI agents. It did not give me a committable suggestion or code suggestion that I can apply. While Bito gives you this vulnerability, it also explains the core area behind it or the core reasoning behind it, and then gives you an actionable code suggestion which I can just commit directly from here. One click and the suggestion is applied to my particular code chain. This is really great. Now I asked CodeRabbit, can you suggest me the code change for this suggestion? And it gave me the answer. So this is one good thing about CodeRabbit, that it also has the chat feature just like Bito. So it gave me two approaches and the code changes behind these. But again, I did not find any committable button that I can just review and make the changes once. If I come back to it again, I also asked Bito about the chat. So for example, if I have this particular code suggestion here, I can just ask Bito, why is it important? And can you suggest an authorized solution? Although this is pretty basic thing and there is no real problem behind implementing this particular code suggestion, I'm just asking this question to Bito to show you that Bito can reply to your chat, reply to your questions, give you alternate solutions, and much more behind the comprehensive suggestion or the whole PR. So this was the conclusion of my third point of comparison, where in some cases Bito is much more accurate and comprehensive in actually explaining you the problem and giving you a commutable suggestion that you can apply, while CodeRabbit in some areas fails to do that. Now, the next point of comparison that I wanted to talk about is the dashboard. If we look at Bito's dashboard, we have the settings option in repository section. I can just go to this change default settings, and I have different settings and different options to play around with my code review agent. And the same thing is offered by CodeRabbit as well. If I go to repositories and click a repository on the settings bar, I get different options across different things to make changes in my CodeRabbit agent. But when it comes to dashboard and analytics, I feel Bito surpasses CodeRabbit in every particular metric. For example, I'll just give you an overview one by one. So CodeRabbit gives you this dashboard: number of PRs reviewed, CodeRabbit suggestions, total number of suggestion threads started by CodeRabbit. I don't know why this shows 0 while we currently have this in front of ourselves. If you look at suggestion breakdown, CodeRabbit shows that you have total suggestions, potential issues, total findings, review feedback breakdown, 3 refactor suggestions, and 44 issues found. And we have tool findings breakdown. This is about tools used by CodeRabbit to analyze code and provide actionable fixes for common issues. I guess these are the different models of patterns that CodeRabbit works on. But this is it. You don't get anything else. While for Bito, you have this overview dashboard. For example, 9 PRs reviewed, submitters, lines reviewed, repositories reviewed, issues, categorization of those issues. This is the game changer here. You have 51% functionality issues, static analysis 17%, security 10%. You get a clear direction and a clear view of overall changes and the overall issues and the categories that are found by Bito. And this will make you understand so much more about how your team is working and what is the key lacking area of your team. And we also have this segmentation around dashboard. For example, submitter analytics. This dashboard tells you everything about the submitter actions. For example, I have raised 9 pull requests this month. Total lines that are reviewed from my part, issues reported 114, issues distribution, and then we have repo analytics. This is the repository level analytics, pull requests reviewed for different repos, lines reviewed, issues found in different repos, for example. Then this also has segmentation per programming language. Then again, issue distribution by category. And then we have PR analytics, where you can get a clear view per PR of all the issues that were found, category of those issues, and links to directly go to that particular issue in the PR. For example, this pull request, here I have actionable feedback, category, language, and action. So you see how Bito clearly wins this battle of dashboard and analytics, while CodeRabbit does not offer much here. Now, the next key thing that I wanted to talk about is learned rules and custom guidelines, the example of which we saw here in this example. Like, we have this review rule created based on one click, and how each PR is reviewed by the review rules that we have created in our Bito workspace. So this was all in all a brief comparison between both tools, Bito and CodeRabbit. And I hope you found this video helpful. I'll link down the link of both pull requests down below in the description, just so you can have a look at it and compare for yourself. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions around Bito and its code review agent, feel free to reach out to the Bito team. Thank you.